We are back to finish this week's bit of college football 25 information. As it was ratings week, we also got to see a little bit more, not necessarily in-game action, but a little bit more in terms of their trailers for the sights and sounds. And that is where we're going to start. We're going to then go shifting over to the ratings and then finish up with a little bit of Teambuilder information that we have. So let's get started with the basics, sight, and sounds. Ever since they announced that College Football 25 was coming back, they were saying that they wanted to make sure that one thing that they got right was the traditions, the real atmosphere of college football. And they definitely are doing that here, and it's for every single team. While there's been many years without a college football game, the development team has spent years capturing countless traditions, mascots, fight songs, and more that creates the atmosphere of all 134 schools that will be in this game. They want to make sure that every fan base is represented and each team has the pride that they have built. And when you see how they have done it, well, then it makes sense why it's taken so long. This development team has literally brought in movie studio techniques to help produce this game. By motion capture, they brought in actors. They've built sets to ensure everything is correct. And by everything, we do mean everything. Every prop was built to its accurate size and weight. It was then motion capped with those actors to make it the most realistic, as just making a stand-in object would not replicate the authenticity of the tradition of these schools. They even built sets, a 2-story ramp to replicate the hill from Clemson's runout. For Notre Dame, they built the staircase that goes down to the play like a champion sign that they hit every time they leave the locker room. For Purdue, they even built their rotating bass drum for their pre-game show. And when it came to even the teams that just simply have a banner that they run through, they recreated that as well. But not all the work was solely visual. They did a lot of audio work as well. Over the last 2 seasons, they worked with ESPN to capture crowd audio straight from their broadcasts. And they will use these sounds that they captured to function as the crowd noise, the swells, the reactions, everything that really gives the atmosphere of a true college football game. They even went to the 2022 LSU-Bama game, and that audio is included. In total, they captured audio from 41 different games, all of which you can see located down below. And when that game finally comes out, we will see the walkout, the traditions of every single team, like here with Boston College and their Eagle. There are so many more, the Florida Chomp. I mean, you could go on and on. They have got it all, and they're doing it to the best of their ability, and it really does seem like it is their best. They've even put people in the mascot suits, mo-cap them, so everything should look rather smooth than in years past where, some of the animations might have been a little gimmicky. We're going to get a very true to life atmosphere with College Football 25. And that even goes to what the celebrations are out on the field. Not only crowd celebrations, offensive celebrations, but defensive celebrations. The turnover belt will be in College Football 25. And keeping in that same step, there are a lot of teams that have themed game days that will also be included. Examples: the checkerboard pattern at Tennessee, the triple stripe layout at Boise State. They have over 170 different patterns for schools that will match their real life counterparts. On top of that, detail has been first and foremost for them in developing this game, and you will see that with the fact that they put in seat by seat every single spot here inside the stadiums. That way the themes look true, they look realistic. And if your school has multiple different themes, they will all be included. The stripe out, helmet stripe, and then of course whiteout games, all will be there when you open up College Football 25. So not only are your crowds going to represent how well you're doing on the field, they are going to represent the traditions of the schools that you are playing with and building. So, the more you play, the better your themes are going to look. Or at least, if you're playing with them in Dynasty. Now, the reason that we started with talking about all the different sights and sounds is because that builds up the home field advantage, and there definitely is going to be that here in College Football 25. It's going to affect away teams in several different ways. Blurred routes, incorrect play art, confidence and composure effects. And the screen, well, it might shake depending on how loud that crowd gets. Once again, the whole theme here of College Football 25 is detail. It's to be accurate, and it's to be immersive into the atmosphere of a true college football game, which leads us directly to our first top 25 ranking. The toughest places to play in college football. And they even went into extreme detail in deciding who gets ranked where and what difficulty lies for the away teams. They factored in historical stats such as home winning percentage, home game attendance, active home winning streaks, team prestige, and more. Though, as always, these rankings are subject to change depending on what happens in the future. But for right now, Texas A&M hosts the toughest stadium to travel to. Rounding out the top 5, you have Bama, Georgia, LSU, and Ohio State in that order. Now, for me, shockingly, I was not expecting a team like Boise State to be up here in the top 25. I've heard great atmospheres, never been there myself, but they're not even a Power 5 team, though they have cracked the top 25. And if you remember our conference realignment or custom conference video we had on Monday, well, I decided the Boise State was moving up to the Pac-12, so it seems like that is a great call. But we're not just here to see what the toughest places to play at are. How about the top 25 offenses and defenses? Well, just as they did for the toughness factor, they also took into stats when it came down to ranking the offenses and the defense and getting the overalls of these players. Now, the development team meticulously examined hundreds of thousands of data points to get to where their rankings are, and that included getting a little help from the PFF. Team analyzed all 134 rosters, thousands of players, years worth of game film, and mountains of stats, ultimately arriving at these power rankings, though, as mentioned earlier, they are subject to change. Let's start with the offense. I think in no surprise, Georgia tops the list. Following them, top 5 goes Oregon, Alabama, Texas, not sure about that one, and Ohio State. Obviously, I know Texas did well last year, but for a decade or two, they've been saying Texas is back. They've only done well 1 year. I'm holding out on them. If they can prove me wrong, then albeit. As for this list, I think some shocking ones to point out. Kansas breaks the top 15, top 14 at spot 14. Another one that I think is intriguing, going back to the conference realignment video where we had put Memphis in the SEC. It was all regional based, which is why Memphis got moved up. With the number 19 offense, they might be able to do a little something here in the SEC, which will be very fun to see. As for one that's lower than I was maybe expecting, USC barely cracking the top 25. But for all you Ohio State fans, you finally got your spot here. Number 1 in defensive power rankings. Georgia, Oregon, Bama, Clemson round out the top 5. Now from this group, I don't really think there's any big surprises. Texas in the top 10. I feel like they're definitely favoring Texas in this game, but that is a constant. Oklahoma State breaks into the top 25 as well. Big 12 not necessarily known for their defenses, but we'll see if that starts to change. Florida hasn't done particularly well over the last few years. Well, they're here in the top 25 defense, and they broke top 10 in toughest places to play. But of course, one thing missing there is the top 25 overalls for the teams. Now, I had to record this before that came out, as I believe it is set to come out on Friday, so I will not have that information here in this video, but I will put it down in the description whenever it does come out, as it should probably come out this morning if you're watching this on Friday. Now, to round out this video, we're gonna throw in a little bit of Teambuilder information, as there hasn't been a whole lot talked about yet, but there has been some, and that is the fact Teambuilder is coming back. It will be on a website as it was at the latter part of NCAA. Once again, you'll be able to design uniforms, helmets, fields, upload your own logo, and then when you are ready, you could use that team in Play Now and Dynasty. Though one big thing to remember is you could only do that in offline Play Now and private Dynasty. These Teambuilder teams cannot be used for any of the online features. Additionally, EA has said that there are 150 stadiums for us to choose, with some customization options for our created stadiums. There was a stadium toolkit that they talked about when they were building the game. I don't think we'll have complete access to that, but if we do, that would be really cool. Supposedly, the new Teambuilder is supposed to be much more in-depth and much larger than what we had prior. And part of that is in the fact that logo placement, pride icons, and other elements can be placed all over the uniform rather than in select areas as it was in its predecessor. So for all you creatives, you'll have a lot more ability to make your team you and provide a little bit of that detail, atmosphere, tradition for your own school. And for those that either weren't there or don't quite remember the former Teambuilder, this is what it looked like. You were able to upload a primary logo and a secondary, plus you were able to choose your own team colors. Once you had that in, well, then you could start designing your own uniforms, including colors of chin straps, face masks, what design or logo you had on the side. Will you just have numbers? Would it be blank? You had a pretty good amount of opportunities here to custom design your own look with some pre-made sets. And as for the stadiums, we had options. Just about pretty much every single stadium that was in the game prior, plus a few extra that I believe were used for Road to Glory. Now, there was not much ability to edit the stadium itself. You were, however, able to change the name of the stadium. You could put a certain logo or no logo on center field, edit the end zones, and if I'm not mistaken, you used to be able to choose what turf you wanted as well, or what the field was, whether it was turf, multicolored turf, natural grass, and there might have been blue turf. Though don't quote me on that part, it's been a decade plus. But one thing they haven't touched on was the ability that we had to edit the roster of our former Teambuilder. Now, they've obviously mentioned that you can't create prospects because I think that goes down to likeness issues. Not sure what they plan to do here with the Teambuilder, if we will be able to create our own team. In the former Teambuilder, the predecessor, we weren't able to really go in and design the players, what equipment they looked like, what their build was like, but we could put in their basic information: first, last name, what year they were in, number, height, weight, right-handedness. You could choose skin color and their face, put in their skills. But as for what they looked like when you got them into the game, well, that was a surprise every time. But it's been a fun week here of College Football 25 information. As I mentioned earlier, I will put in the description of this video the top 25 overalls as well when that comes out, as it's supposed to come out on Friday. I'm recording this on Thursday, so it's ready for you to watch on Friday, but that will be down there. Overall, funnily enough, pun not intended, a lot of good information came here, and we're starting to get a better look at what this game is truly going to look like. Do you agree with the top 25s for toughest places to play, offense and defense? Do you think that someone should have been higher ranked, or do you think someone should have not been ranked at all, even though they were? Obviously, we could kind of tell with me, I think Texas, I don't know. We'll see how they do next year, and again, I hope they prove me wrong. As for the team we will be taking over, your guesses can still come in. Check the community tab, as every single day I have eliminations happening, plus a hint as to who that team is. And anyone who guesses correctly, well, you'll be featured in the announcement video. So make sure you guys are checking that out, and to stay tuned for any more college football information, which we will have some videos placed here and there, but we're gonna get back to the normal scheduled series following this week. So if you want to see those or more college football news, make sure you stick around. Hit that bell icon on the bottom right, or scroll down, hit the sub button, and definitely tap that bell icon so you're notified of when these videos go live. Really excited. We're getting close. Again, less than a month away.